He'd just have to wait until Jax was officially expelled, then find some guys to drag him into an alley and beat the hell out of him. Landon, if this is true, I will personally write you up for a formal warning. I don't care if your father is the king of the world, Dean Evans said, showing no favoritism. Landon knew he was done for. His father would skin him alive. This was all Jax's fault. The dean then turned, cutting off Jax's triumphant smirk. And you can stop smiling, Jax. You're the real tumor here. In all my years at Kingston, you are, without a doubt, the most unprincipled, rotten student I have ever had the displeasure of dealing with. He sighed, rubbing his temples. Jax was the student council president and had won numerous awards. He'd had a good impression of him. But if this plagiarism allegation was true, he'd have to investigate all of Jax's previous awards as well. The implications were huge. If it was true, Jax had to be expelled. Come on, to my office now, the dean commanded. I'm calling your parents. I refuse to believe there's no way to straighten you out. Jax raised an eyebrow, a roguish glint in his refined features. He spoke in a lazy drawl. Oh, don't do that, Dean. I don't have parents. Or a family. My official records, it's just me. I eat, the whole family's fed. It was no secret on campus that Jax, Caleb, and Sierra were family, and that Jax was the long-lost son of the Pierce dynasty. All eyes instinctively turned to Sierra. The true son had been back for years, and they hadn't even put him on the family's official documents. Wrapped in a cocoon of probing and questioning gazes, Sierra found it impossible to bring up the blood transfusion again. Besides, Jax had clearly misunderstood her. Hearing him speak as if he'd already cut all ties with the family, she couldn't help but frown. Jax, stop being unreasonable. Her voice was strained as she tried to salvage the situation. The research project incident was a misunderstanding. Caleb said he was going to explain it to the professor, but he's always been so frail, he must have forgotten. It's my fault you were blamed and are now facing expulsion. I'll go with you to the dean's office and clear this up. She knew she was in the wrong, and her tone softened, though her posture remained rigid. Jax's eyes were cold. He let out a sneer. Clearing my name is the least you can do, since you're the one who started this. Don't act so put upon. Are you made of plastic? You're so full of it. How many times have I taken a fall for you? Caught stealing a professor's files, and I was the one punished by cleaning the entire lab building. Skipping class, cheating, climbing the walls, pranking the security guards. I took the punishment for every single one. Running 30 laps in the pouring rain, cleaning out the garbage trucks, being humiliated by reading public apologies in every single department. Sierra, I am done with that life. And your disgusting act makes me sick. Jax's words were sharp and piercing. Sierra was so ashamed she couldn't speak. It felt like needles were stabbing in her heart with every breath, a dense, spreading pain that made it hard to breathe. So, without realizing it, she had let Jax take the blame for so much, suffer so many punishments for her. She was rebellious and a poor student, but she'd never cheated or pranked the guards. She wanted to explain, but when she met Jax's icy glare, her feet felt glued to the floor. She really had been too cruel to him. Just then, her phone buzzed. It was a voice message from her mother. Sierra pressed play. Sierra, why haven't you brought Jax to the hospital yet? Caleb is only so sick because Jax's bad luck jinxes him. I also heard Jax stole Caleb's research to win that gold medal. That wild boy steals from us at home and is morally bankrupt outside. He's a disgrace to our family. If I had known, I would have smothered him in his crib. At least he's still useful for giving Caleb blood. That's his greatest purpose in this family. Oh, since you're at the university, go straight to the board and report Jax for stealing the award. Get justice for your brother Caleb. As for Jax, getting expelled is perfect. He could go live on the streets and pick up trash. After society beats him down and breaks his spine, he'll come crawling back to us, begging to return. The volume wasn't loud, but Jax was close enough to hear every single word. In the past, he would have been heartbroken. A child starved of love spends their life begging for affection, willing to kneel for even a scrap of warmth. But all his painstaking efforts had only made him a tool for his family to carve flesh and suck blood from. It was pathetic. Sierra snapped back to reality and saw the cold, indifferent expression on Jax's face. She felt a pang of conflict. But her mother was right. Jax had been corrupted by his years on the streets. So what if he took the fall for her? It didn't mean he wouldn't have committed those other mistakes on his own. He just hadn't been caught. And even if the issue with Landon's research project was debatable, the matter of Jax stealing Caleb's research and claiming the honor for himself was an undeniable fact. She shouldn't feel sorry for Jax. This brother of hers was rotten to the core. Sierra's fists clenched. She looked up, staring daggers at Jax, her voice hoarse as she accused him. Jax, I'm sorry I made you take the blame, but Caleb's research was the result of a week of hard work while he was sick. How could you be so vicious as to steal the work of an ill person? Jax, you've disappointed me more than I can say. Jax laughed, but this time his smile was colder and more ruthless than ever. I didn't do it. Caleb is the one who's lying. I won that gold medal with my own abilities, and I can prove it in any way you want, he stated, his voice ringing with conviction. But if I prove that I didn't steal the award, and I didn't destroy Landon's project, then what happens to the students who slandered me? At that moment, under the weight of 1,000 judging eyes, 1,000 curses, Jack stood like a lone ship against the storm. His defiant, cold eyes and proud posture gave him an air of noble integrity. For a second, no one could look away. Then they blinked, shaking their heads. Jax was just a cornered rat. Compared to a gentle, brilliant nobleman like Caleb, they were night and day, even if they shared the same blood. No matter how much he struggled, there was no way he could turn this around. Dean Evans's face grew darker and darker as he listened. Kingston University had so many disciplinary loopholes, and they had all failed this one student. Jax, if we have all truly misunderstood you, I will personally apologize to you. I will also lead the charge to have every student who slandered and framed you receive a major demerit on their record. How about that? The dean felt a prick of guilt. Slander and false accusations weren't grounds for expulsion. Not enough. I want a black mark branded on every one of their permanent records. A black mark was the ultimate punishment. A student's permanent record followed them for life. A black mark signified in-school criminal activity. Top global corporations would never hire them, and even backdoor connections would get them kicked out. The punishment was far too severe. The onlookers were stunned. They were convinced Jax had completely lost his mind. Jax, where do you get the nerve to prove your innocence? A girl named Jessica sneered. Chloe has Caleb's research notebook, with all the design sketches and detailed experimental procedures. You have nothing. How are you going to prove you were the designer? A thief is a thief, and that's a stain you can never wash away. Just admit it. Kingston doesn't welcome rats from the gutter like you. Jessica was furious. She thought Jax was a rich heir yesterday, and he'd made her miss a chance to snag a wealthy boyfriend. Now, she wanted to grind him into the dirt. Jessica, how could you? Chloe frowned, looking at her friend with a pained expression. Caleb told us that Jax is his brother, and that we had to keep this a secret. Oh, Jax, Chloe thought, you shouldn't have humiliated me yesterday. Now don't blame me for using the design sketches you gave me as a keepsake to checkmate you. The crowd murmured. Our campus belle Chloe is too kind. How could Jax dare to make such a bet? He's gambled himself into a ditch. Getting kicked out of Kingston is your destiny, kid. Inside the conference room, Dean Evans had gathered all the involved students. Taking the fall for someone and plagiarizing a research award were both major disciplinary stains on Kingston's reputation. The board had to investigate and handle this with extreme prejudice. Jax, I have personally examined the detailed design schematics for the Kingston University student research competition submitted by Miss Vance. The dean said, his voice grave. They are identical to the final winning project. Do you have anything else to say? Mr. Pierce is in poor health, a fact the university is well aware of. We encourage students to help one another. And what do? You take advantage of his illness to practically steal his future. The department head, a man named Professor Young, slammed his hand on the table. A student like you doesn't deserve to be at Kingston. You're the one who should have a black mark on your record. He had greatly admired the gold medal project and was furious to find out it had been stolen. Professor Young, Dean Evans asked, has the prize for the research competition already been awarded? Professor Young looked uncomfortable. The $20,000 cash prize has already been dispersed. We were preparing to give out the medal and certificate of honor today. Of course, then all this happened, and everything was put on hold. In that case, Jax, you will return the $20,000 immediately, Professor Young declared, convinced he'd found the motive. Have some shame. Don't shamelessly hold on to what isn't yours. Greed had destroyed what could have been a good student. Can't. Already spent it. Sorry, already used it to buy my wife a ring. Jax shrugged, holding up his hands in a gesture of helplessness. A collective groan went through the room. Shit, Jax has no shame at all. Jax, so the money you used to rent that hypercar and act like a big shot to get Chloe's attention yesterday was the 20 grand you stole from Caleb's award. Landon sneered. You're a master of getting something for nothing. Absolutely no morals. No wonder the Pierces won't acknowledge you. A piece of trash like you would be booed off the streets. He had hated Jax for a long time, and yesterday's stunt with the car had pushed him over the edge. A broke dog like Jax, dreaming of winning Chloe's favor? As if he was worthy. Jax, don't play the victim here, Landon's crony, Liam, chimed in. Don't think we can't do anything just because you say you're broke. There are plenty of online loan companies. Go get a loan right now. So what if you don't have a car or a house? You can still get a payday loan. Besides, no matter how pathetic you are, you're still a Pierce. You can't really be broke, can you? Or what did you spend it all on some? Secret habits? The implication hung in the air, and Sierra's expression, which had been tinged with guilt, now hardened. Her mother had said Jax picked up all sorts of vices on the streets. He stole money from the family, stole his sister's jewelry, all to feed that bottomless pit. Gambling. At home, Jax acted obedient and thoughtful, showing concern for every sister and even his mother, willing to do anything for them. It was all a front to lower their guard, to get them to cover his debts. A gambling addict like Jax deserved no pity or sympathy from anyone in the Pierce family. Whatever misery he suffered, he brought it on himself. Sierra couldn't stand it anymore. She pointed a finger at him, her voice filled with disappointment. Jax, you can't even come up with $20,000? Even a beggar on the street wouldn't be this broke. At the very least, you should have money left from what the family gives you. You're healthy and able-bodied, yet you just squander it all. You disappoint me so much. Even if I am your fifth sister, even if you got on your knees and begged me, I wouldn't give you a single cent. The Pierce family was never stingy with their children's expenses. Each child received a fair monthly allowance of $30,000. After Jax returned, he naturally received the same. But he lived so frugally, never buying decent clothes or shoes. He looked sloppy, with unkempt hair and shabby outfits that were repulsive. The family gave him the best educational opportunities and a generous living allowance. Yet he insisted on looking like a pauper. No one with money didn't know how to spend it. It was clear Jax was being manipulative, trying to gain sympathy to compete with Caleb for affection. He wanted the attention of his parents and elders to get more money. Caleb was sick, yet he was kind and considerate, always thinking of his older brother. Jax, on the other hand, was selfish and scheming. Anyone in the family with eyes could see who deserved their favor. I'll give you one option, Sierra said, her voice sharp with disgust. Go get a loan and pay back the university. If you can't get a normal one, get a high-interest one. You have no shame left anyway. Maybe this will teach you a lesson. She had to be harsh to make him understand what it felt like to have no safety net, to scare him away from gambling forever. The board members remained silent. They didn't entirely approve of Sierra's methods, but since she was the one pushing Jax to get a loan, it was a family matter. Besides, a kid with a character as rotten as Jax's probably didn't need a harsh lesson. Sierra, we should go visit a cattle ranch sometime. I see you're an expert at bullshitting. Jax shot back. I've already cut ties with the Pierce family. Is that a tumor on your neck instead of a head? Can't you understand plain English? You love claiming relatives so much. Why don't you go be the director at the zoo? And I've told you 100 times, the research competition prize is mine. It's my money to spend however I damn well please. Why should I give it back? And don't you forget, you've already admitted to making me your scapegoat. If we follow standard procedure, who do you think that expulsion notice is really for? To say you're stupid would be a compliment to my own sweet tongue. He gave no quarter. The Pierces were no longer family in his eyes. He had no reason to savor any face. You, Jax, you've gone rogue. How dare you speak to me like that? Sierra's eyes widened. She had never imagined that the ever-obedient Jax could be so vicious toward her. See, the moment he realized he couldn't trick any more money out of me, he showed his true colors. I don't just dare to say it. I'll have it carved on your tombstone for free, Jax growled, his aggressive energy silencing the entire room. The board members exchanged uneasy glances. Jax claims the research was his, but where's the proof? Seeing her moment, Chloe Vance began to play her role as Jax's former white moonlight, his unattainable crush. Dressed in a white dress, she looked like a pure, blooming lotus as she walked toward him against the light. She frowned, her face a picture of concern as she held out a bank card. Jax, I'm so sorry. I failed to properly look after the research schematics, and I couldn't stop Jessica. Please don't blame me, okay? Her words were ambiguous. She looked troubled and guilty, yet she had neatly absolved herself of all responsibility. She was implying that Jessica had framed Jax on her own, and that she, as a good friend, couldn't refuse to help, leaving Jax to take the fall. You only spent that $20,000 because you were trying to pursue me, so I share some of the blame. Here's $1,000. Consider my compensation. Can you accept my apology? Jax almost burst out laughing at her performance. Ever since he had started treating her like his unobtainable dream, she had truly started treating him like an idiot, draining his wallet month after month. He had spent tens of thousands of dollars on her over the years, and she was compensating him with $1,000? Not a chance in hell. Get the hell out of my face. Do you have the $200,000 you owe me? Stop acting. You think this is a stage for drama queens? If you're sick, go see a doctor.